So to start, we're actually going to focus on the most important tier of your link building portfolio, and that's your tier 1 links. This is the link directly pointing from one website to your main website, and this is the one that you want to make sure is the safest, the most powerful, and gives you the best situation for rank compared to your competitors. So this is what establishes your site authority, but it's also what associates you with your current link building portfolio in Google. So tier 1 links both need to be good links, but they need to be very credible links as well. Tier 1 linking basics are much like any of the other tiers. The main thing that you want to do in today's Google is vary your anchor text. Look very natural. So if you go back to the earlier videos, you can see us talking about this natural anchor text linking profile. Use branded keywords. Use your URL. Use random other keywords. And actually use your keyword in different iterations when you're linking back. Look for a mix of follow and no follow links here. As you go through tools like Rank Recon, you'll see that every single website that you evaluate has a distribution of follow and no follow links. So if you're building out a network with just followed links, it looks weird. It doesn't look natural. Now also, don't be afraid to actually go after some purchase links. We're going to be talking about how to build your own portfolio of links, but when you're looking to build out good, strong links, especially with new sites, don't be afraid to go out and approach webmasters to purchase them from them. I use Fiverr to do this, but I've used a number of other different websites. You can even use eBay, and then use tools like Ahrefs, like SEO Moz, or Rank Recon to evaluate the actual sites that you're getting those links from, and be very cognizant of how they're placed too. And we'll talk about that as well. The important part is that you don't get too aggressive going past tier 1 until you establish a solid base of authority. Now, if you're moving past this and you don't have a solid base of authority, it's because you're developing a new site or you're launching a new website. If you have an existing website and you don't have strong authority, focus on building your authority out by sending traffic in or sending links in to your main domain. Because you want to build up that authority because it makes ranking new pages and new content so much easier, as we talked about earlier. So building a solid base really begins with producing quality content. This is basically our starting point, right? Make sure you have good handwritten content. And when you're looking at your tier 1 sites, and when you're looking at your own website, you want to make sure you have handwritten and non-spun content. You can actually seek out authorities in your niche, or you can write this yourself once you've researched your niche. So when I started out, I wrote articles on credit cards, and I was a credit card affiliate. Or I'd write articles on fly fishing when I was a fly fishing affiliate. I did all this stuff myself, and you can do it yourself too, but with tools out there like iWriter or Fiverr or a number of the other platforms out there for outsourcing, it's actually so easy to just get this stuff done, and you can get good quality work for not a lot of money. Now, the other thing is when you're looking at tier 1, you're building out these assets, look at what you already have. So what unique content do you have? Have you built infographics? Do you have software? Do you have videos? Do you have imagery? Do you have tools and white papers? What does your competition have? Does your competition have any of these things that you can steal from? Or does your competition have any of these things that you can actually try to repurpose or update? Make sure that you're playing on a level playing field with somebody that you want to compete up against. So if your competition has every single one of these things and you have none of them, then it's going to be really hard for you to get noticed. So make sure when you're doing your competitive analysis, you're doing a rough audit of what your competitor is going to market with. Also, build a stable of quality content for marketing. This helps develop content specifically to build these tier 1 links. So this content should be readable, right? It should be interesting, and it should be engaging for people. So an infographic for a tier 1 link, it should be a great piece, right? It should be something that people want and people want to share. Now, you earn or you develop tier 1 links. Now, there's nothing between that link and your site, so you got to make a count, and you want to be able to associate with it. You want to be comfortable showing this to other people. The important aspect here, especially if you're building this out in private networks, which we'll talk about in a minute, disconnect the server, the domain, and the IP address with your website. So you shouldn't have tier 1 links that point from the same server, the same name server, the same domain name or subdomain, and the same IP address unless it's internal linking. Focus on getting links from unique IPs and unique domains as this builds authority. You also want to develop ties to social here. Now, private networks are the primary means where we're developing these types of links that we control. So I talked about this linking scheme where I have tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, where I'm sending that link value down. We build the majority of these using our own networks, meaning that we build tier 2, we build tier 1, we build tier 3 all manually ourselves. These private link networks actually aren't that complicated. The interesting things about it is that where most people actually fail in executing on those is that they're not thinking about these 5 things. Start by thinking about actually purchasing auction domains. So you're actually starting with some level of credibility. And search within your theme. So if I'm building a site on hiking gear, I'm going to look for auction domains which have some degree of credibility or established weight to them that are on the similar theme. Are they on hiking? Are they on camping? Did they sell tents? And it doesn't necessarily have to directly tie to my keyword. Just look across the theme. If they're related, it still works. Make sure that when you're using those domains, you're placing them on a different IP, a different name server, using a different content management system, and a different template than all of the other pages on Tier 1. So basically what I'm talking about is you're building your Tier 1 sites yourself. So instead of going out and executing and finding Tier 1 links, you're creating them at this point. So I will build 10 sites at tier 1, just as an example. I will use as many different CMS systems as I can handle, basically meaning that I will not use WordPress for every single one of them because that creates a footprint. So maybe I'll use WordPress, maybe I'll use Joomla, maybe I'll use Facebook, maybe I'll use Scoopit, maybe I'll use whatever I can get my hands on, and I will vary the template. So it isn't to say that you can't have more than one WordPress site, but it is to say that if you had 10 WordPress sites, that is creating a footprint. You're going to be able to control how many links you have at this point and how good these links are. The beauty of this is that you're actually setting up a link network which you control. So instead of actually standing around waiting for these things to happen and putting yourself at the mercy of other situations, building out these private networks is what's really going to be able to create that massive weight for you. Now I'm going to talk about how we actually use this to send traffic from 3 to 2 to 1 being sites that we've built out manually, but you can also have this type of work done for you. You can use sites like SEO Buffer, which are basically services which will build out this entire tiered linking scheme and cover all of these aspects of maintaining a good private link network to safely cushion you from any changes in Google going forward. Now, there's also a number of good Tiered 1 linking sources if you are actually going to go out and seek them yourself. Like I talked about before, you can buy them, just stay away from link brokers. You can get good natural links from content marketing, and this all comes from good content. Good content marketing is literally just building out platforms where you can send out content. And this is where social comes into play. Now, I mentioned it in passing, but looking at tools like BuzzBundle is an example where you're building out, here's my social footprint, right? I'm on Facebook. I've built out a group on Facebook. I promoted it, and I have 50,000 people that are friends on there. When I have good content to put out there, I will pump it out to those 50,000 people. I'll promote it. I'll do a promoted post, which costs pennies on the dollar, and I'll make sure all of those people found it. And then once they find it, you'd be surprised at how many of those will actually turn into links. So a lot of people will look at social media and they'll say it's not a link platform. It's a link platform more than you think. You can get found or fostered links from good relationships. So I found a lot of times when I'm working with clients that they have good relationships that they don't foster for links. So they'll do sponsorships or they'll sponsor events or charities, and they'll never look at those as link opportunities. Links created using those types of opportunities tend to be very, very valuable. Links created from your own network of properties, like we just talked about, building out things like what we do with SEO Buffer, building out your own Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 network, and also being creative. You actually never really run out of sources for links at Tier 1. Now, I've just thrown up a link for 50 traffic tips for content marketers. That's an exhaustive list of different types of things that you can do to go out and get links. And I find in most cases that most people who sit back and say, I don't know how to get links, haven't actually tried that hard, but a combination of both building out your own properties and splashing in some of these purchase links or fostered links or some of the stuff on this Informly website give a really good platform for any of us who want to actually go out and build links or maybe are a little bit hung up. Building out your own links with your own properties tends to be the most powerful and the safest, and the ones that will give you the best short-term controllable return and give you the most sustainable long-term growth, but a lot of these other ones are good to help mix it up. Now, some highlights from this, if you're actually going to go out and get them yourself, check out Help a Reporter Out, or HARO. It's basically a bunch of reporters that are looking for stuff to talk about. You can actually feed them reports. That's a really, really good place to seed if you're sponsoring a charity, or if you're doing something that's super interesting. Maybe you're putting out a cool app or some cool software, or maybe you're doing something really good for a group of people. That's a great place to help get noticed. People on the New York Times go on there. People on a number of really, really big platforms who post to a lot of people use websites like Help a Reporter Out. Social platforms, which I touched on a minute ago, I can't really play down how important these are these days. It's both important from the standpoint of it's a trigger to help your content get noticed, but it's also a trigger to help Google see that your content's being spread. Make sure that if there are groups for your niche, you're participating in Facebook or Google Plus or Twitter or any of these other platforms, right? It's not specific to the platform. Don't think I need to be in Facebook. Think I need to be in social media where people are talking about my stuff. So if you searched in Google and Facebook came up, or if you searched in Google and YouTube came up, if it's tied to your keyword, it means that people are interacting in your niche within those social platforms. So you need to establish yourself in that platform to become a distributor of content which gets noticed by people looking for it. So this will include things like forums, blogs, and not just Facebook and Reddit and YouTube, but it does include the big ones that everybody thinks about. And again, look at sites like BuzzBundle for distribution of social content to the majority of these platforms. So instead of necessarily going to Facebook and posting something and then going to Twitter and then posting something, sites like BuzzBundle offer services where you can actually syndicate your content to all social engines at once. It's basically a social distribution engine, and Hootsuite does some of that on a smaller scale as well. I talked about buying links from Fiverr. Some of those can be really great. Just make sure you take the time to do the analysis of the domains to make sure that they have a certain amount of authority associated with them. Sponsor events, clubs, charities. Better Business Bureau is actually a really good one. And local chamber of commerce. Those are going to be ones that are really, really easy for you to get links from. But by and large, when you're looking at Tier 1, think build first, create your own platforms which we control, and then think create second. What can I get with my content? How do I get people to notice me? So it's a combination of both content creation, Tier 1 creation of your own networks, and content distribution or marketing. How do I get people to find the existing content that I've created? So how do I manage social media? We talked about this a little bit before. Hootsuite's a really great platform for this. You can track keywords of interest to participate in the conversation, track your brand terms, track multiple networks at once. You can get analytics on posts, and it's very cheap and very easy to use. BuzzBundle is another great alternative to do the exact same type of thing. These tools are great because they pull all of the functions that you need to do in social media, including posting and monitoring, all into a single funnel. So you can actually monitor everything through Hootsuite, monitor everything through BuzzBundle for both inbound communications but also outbound communications. So all of the stuff that you need to handle from both competitive analysis and brand reputation monitoring is all done through a single tool. Actually really, really great little tools and things that you need to be doing today to be competitive. Now, the last thing that I haven't talked about yet is the really important aspect of remembering where and how to get links. So it's not necessarily just a matter of how you get links today, right? Because that's super important. Making sure that you're getting links that are from credible sources and making sure that you're getting the right types of links at the right place and time, but also where your links show up on the pages linking to you matters a lot. Google really likes contextual links, and that's links within the content itself. Get fewer run of site or navigation links, so things like footer links or blog rolls. That's definitely less valuable in Google's eyes. So as you're building out your Tier 1 portfolio, making sure you focus on contextual links when you build those and focus less on a blog roll or a footer link. This is actually the same type of thing that you need to be thinking about if you're actually buying links. Also remember, you're mixing it up, looking for no follow links and follow links in your overall mix of sites linking to you, and track all of your links, right? This becomes super, super important as we start to talk about the tier 2 and tier 3s within this portfolio, making sure that you have on your hand an Excel file that says here are all of the links that point to my website. You can get some of this data from Rank Recon, you can get some of this data from your own work, but you should have a very good idea of where tier 1 links pointing to you are coming from. We'll talk about the reasons for this as we go forward, but remember, this is super important to keep track of all this in Excel.